the dogs and I are heading to the cabin. And as you can see, it's crazy fog here. In fact, this morning early, since the temperature was just below freezing, a lot of this fog mist froze on the sidewalks. You probably should have been wearing spikes if you were out walking around. But it's a little above freezing now, maybe 34 or 35 degrees. But next to the lake here is really thick fog. We'll see as we turn away from the lake and head to the cabin if that fog dissipates, the further away you get from the lake and that. So for the next week or so, it's supposed to be 34, 35, 36 during the day, 28 at night, somewhere's in there. What little snow we have, they say we have 5 inches on the ground, is probably gonna go mostly away. The only thing that's really saving it right now is how cloudy it's been the last few days. It's been quite some time before we've seen the sun. So heading to the cabin for a couple days. Friends having a birthday party tomorrow, so that's why we're heading up. And I don't know if I'll do much of anything when I get up there. I guess we'll just have to see what things look like. So we'll keep driving and hope we can drive out of this fog. Well, we're about 20 miles inland. And you can see that the fog has lifted, or it's higher, or whatever. But, they call it hoarfrost on the trees and the brush, just covered. And it's absolutely gorgeous out. If the sun was shining, it would be even more brilliant. But it's pretty impressive looking out here with this hoarfrost on everything. And for now, I'm glad that the fog is lifted. We'll see what it's like when we get to the cabin. Just got to the cabin, got in the door. It's 35 degrees outside and 25 degrees inside. So the first thing we're going to do is get a fire going and get some heat in here. Well, I got pretty much everything cleaned up. Actually, this driveway and a little of the parking lot here was plowed by the neighbors the other day. We're going to try an arrangement this winter of sharing the driveway into their cabin, going through my place a little bit. So we're going to see how that works. But then I used the snowblower and then the four-wheeler and got things really widened out and stuff. Last year by now there was probably 100 inches of snow. This year up here there's maybe 6. So it's a tremendous difference. Normally we wouldn't have been able to do this time of year, but it's worked out so far. So it was such a nice day. I mean, cloudy, overcast, hardly any wind. It's above freezing. So I decided to get the chainsaw out and cut a little of this maple here. It's interesting, you know, in the winter, of course, this was green when they cut it, so it has a lot of moisture in it, and that's frozen, so it's not as easy to cut through the wood as it is, you know, in the warm weather. But I think I did maybe 3 tanks of gas. Had to change the chain once because it was getting dull and that, and boy, a sharp chain makes a world of difference. So anyway, I started on the other end, but I decided to move to this end because there's stringers under there and you might not see them if you go to plow, so I thought I'd work on this end a little bit. So maybe tomorrow I'll do some more. I guess I'm not sure. But I did a little bit here, and then I put these sticks to mark where the end of those stringers are, so I don't run into them with the plow or whatever. And stacked a little bit of that wood. I think I did, I don't know, 3 or 4 logs on this end. So, to start, normally we wouldn't do this time of year. End of January, like I say, I think last year there was 100 inches of snow by now. This year there's, 5 or 6 on the ground. So, with it being warm and lack of snow, I guess a person can do a little bit of this type of chore. here. Come on. Diddy, diddy, diddy. What's he doing? Well, I spent, I don't know, a couple hours this morning, early afternoon, working on the woodpile again. I started on this end, got those rows there stacked up, and then I wanted to get on this other end a little bit and take some out of here so there'd be more room for moving snow here and stuff. So I cut a bunch on this end and then cut the stringer out, and then I put these two sticks in to kind of mark, you know, where the edge is if we get a bunch of snow. But the edge of the wood pile here pretty much dictates where it is. But I got, I don't know, probably about half, maybe not quite half of this 3 cords cut up here in these 2 days. So the spring job will be getting the split, and amongst all the other things we do here or have to do, but here's a big pile here and back there, and all this here is split, so that'll get moved into the woodshed in the spring. And yeah, quite a wood yard. We'll have plenty of firewood for a number of years. Now if we keep having the road plowed and that, it's possible we'll be spending more time here, because when you normally come up you got to spend 2 days with the snow blower clearing, you know, to be able to get in and stuff. And of course this winter it's been so mild, it's just been gorgeous for being up here when it's 30 degrees at the end of January. So, but I'm done working on the wood pile on this trip. It's almost like it's kind of misty fog and stuff now, so the dogs enjoy it when it's warm and there's not a lot of snow. Last year they couldn't really get around much any place except where it was plowed out or snow blowed out. So this year they can pretty much go wherever they want. So years ago when I built this bunk bed, you can see this backside isn't, well, square or whatever you want to call it. And the reason is because of the logs on the other end. Some stick out farther than others. So I just left it. And for years I've looked at this and thought, you know, I'm going to have to tear this bed apart, notch into the logs on the other end over here, and then reassemble this whole bed system. But I was just sitting here today thinking, you know, if I just loosen maybe some of these, couple of these screws, and if I can wedge the 2x4s away from the log wall, maybe I can straighten this out, even it out better. So Now that I'm done cutting firewood for the day, I'm going to go out and get a couple tools and take out a couple screws and see if in fact it moves, because if I didn't have to tear the bed apart, that would be awesome. So anyway, I'll give it a try for something to do here this afternoon and see if we can make this work and take away one of the things that's bugged me for years, I guess. You can see it's almost, well, I guess if you just move that a hair, it would be pretty even. And visually, it wouldn't be so kittywampus like it was before. And really, the only thing that changes is that 2 blocks of wood there to push it away from the logs. That's a lot easier than going in and notching all those logs out, and then I have electric wire running in there and stuff. So I think for now I'm going to do that, and I'm going to replace these old Phillips screws with the star bits because they are way easier and nicer to work with. But in, well, when was that? 1985 when I built this. So I mean, obviously it sat there for a long time being out of alignment, but it always kind of bugged me. So as I was sitting here, I thought, you know, I think there's an easy way to maybe try and make this work. So let's get things back together, and then we'll see how it looks. bottom holes don't line up, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, well, let's see, because I think I'm hitting one of the braces here, so I don't have room, so I might have to toenail it from the outside here. All right, well, I guess it's much more appealing visually than it was. Of course, you might say almost 30 years, was it that big of a deal? Well, probably not, but like I said, it's always kind of bugged me. Not that I'm an expert carpenter or anything, but you know, you like things to look nice. So anyway, it's much more square. Just got those two little 2x4s sticking out there, and I guess the next 30 years it'll look even better. So the other thing I just did was this plug-in was on the floor, and it was dirty, and you'd have to slide it out to plug other stuff in. So I put a couple screws in, and then I tacked a 2x4 to hold it in there tight. And now it's up there higher. You can plug in stuff easily. I eliminated one extension cord from the lamp in the other room. And yeah, it'll just make things more accessible and easier to get to, and a little bit cleaner. And yeah, again, it's maybe not the most aesthetically pleasing, but it works, and that's all that I guess I'm looking for here when we come up to the cabin, is efficiency and stuff that works better than it had in the past. So last night it cooled off a little bit, down to like 24 degrees. And all this hoarfrost developed on the trees. When the fog, you can see out on the lake, the fog kind of freezes onto the needles, branches of the trees. It's absolutely gorgeous. So anyway, we're packing up and heading home, the dogs and I. Hopefully you enjoyed some of the things we did on this trip. And it might be a little while before I get back up here again. So we want to thank you for joining us, the dogs and I. And if you like our channel, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And we appreciate you coming on our journeys here at the Northwoods Cabin and spending time watching us on the Living North channel. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next video.